to the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS podcast with hosts Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live stream and podcast here. We are recording for Friday's 11-game main slate. James, TGIF, my friend.
TGIF indeed, 11-game slate. A very interesting one at that. Some decent pitching options, but a lot of them in really tough spots. And a lot of really bad pitchers in really good spots to attack. So looking forward to this.
Yeah, we talk about this all the time, right? You work your way through the rotation, and sometimes you get good guys, sometimes you get bad guys. Definitely a spot where we're looking to attack here. Before we dump into it, shout out to RT Sports, Real-Time Fantasy Sports, our partner. Go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users get a 100% deposit match up to $200. Over there, they have DFS pick'em plays. They have the basketball and seasonal fantasy football championships over there, which you can use your deposit match bonus for as well. So get involved there over at Real-Time Fantasy Sports. A lot of great things happening over there. That said, James, let's dive into this slate. Waste no more time. Like we said, we got 11 games to talk about here on the Friday slate. If we're looking at Las Vegas, talk to me, friend. What's the happening over there?
Biggest favorite on the board, Aaron Nola and the Philadelphia Phillies -225. No surprise, Yordan Alvarez opposing them. That's the only notable money line we have. In terms of over-unders, 9 implied runs in Yankees Houston, 9 implied runs in KC Philly, 9 implied runs in Mets Orioles, 10 implied runs in Toronto Boston, and 9.5 implied in Colorado St. Louis. I'm surprised to see the under favored in that Colorado St. Louis game, considering it's, drumroll please, Chris Flexen versus Adam Wainwright. So 9.5 implied runs in that one is a very interesting number to see.
When was the last time we saw Chris Flexen make a start?
He actually just made a couple starts. And by a couple, I mean one for Colorado, and he got demolished. He also couldn't throw.
That's what I was saying. Like, it feels like it's been a while since he was even like a viable fantasy option.
Yeah, I mean, KBO, it's probably when he played in the KBO was probably the last time he's been good.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's jump into it then. Top pitcher on the slate, Luis Castillo against the Angels. You have Aaron Nola against the Royals. When I say top pitcher, he's probably the one most people are going to gravitate towards. We have Luzardo versus Montgomery, Paxton at home against Toronto. Your 4 guys up over 9K. I mean, Luis Castillo, we've talked a lot about it. He coming off a really good start against Arizona, coming off a decent start against Minnesota, 2 opponents. Maybe he's starting to turn things around, but the home run ball had been him a little while, and this Angels team, this new Angels lineup, loaded with guys that can put the ball out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with Castillo. Obviously, hard to ignore the 24-plus fantasy points in 3 straight starts. So, is an interesting matchup. I think there's a lot of strikeout upside. We've talked about how much the Angels have struck out lately. And, Castillo is a guy who has a lot of strikeout upside. 3 straight starts, so 7+ strikeouts. He had 11 in Minnesota 3 starts ago. So I like Castillo. I think the obvious chalk pitcher of the slate is Aaron Nola. Despite not pitching well this year and despite being very disappointing in fantasy overall, he's had a massive ceiling at times. Like, he's gone for 40 fantasy points twice. He's gone for 30+ fantasy points 4 times this year. So despite getting shelled by Pittsburgh and getting shelled by Miami, and I mean, teams that he just shouldn't be hit by at times, he has been. And he also, I remember, the numbers are kind of skewed because at the start of the year, he faced Murderer's Row in the first 7 starts or whatever. He had a really tough go and started to pitch well and then kind of derailed again against Pittsburgh. I expect Nola's ownership.
He's definitely had some. He's had some tough spots here for his matchups. You mentioned obviously the early run that he had there, but the middle recent performance matchups that he's had too, also some pretty tough spots. So the Royals, if he gives it up to them, then we have a little bit of a worry for sure.
I don't know what to do with Luzardo. I'm probably fading him, but we've seen a really high ceiling lately, so there's that. But with Corey Seager back, that's obviously scary. I think the Paxton play is interesting, just given how bad Toronto's been against left-handed pitching this year. We just saw him against Toronto not too long ago, 7 2/3 scoreless with 7 strikeouts. I think Paxton could be really interesting, despite that game having the highest implied run total. And I think Merrill Kelly's interesting too. He hasn't necessarily looked great since returning. He really had to battle through that Seattle start just to get through 5 innings. His first inning, he threw 40 plus pitches and gave up all 3 runs and then didn't allow a run in his final 4 innings. So I think there's some interesting names at the top. I'll even throw Hunter Brown in there as well, 8,400. Cheaper price tag than we were seeing for a long time. So I think pitching overall at the top is interesting, but like good luck finding much below Hunter Brown.
Yeah, if you can just avoid the home run ball again with Minnesota, right? There's a lot of strikeout potential for Merrill Kelly in this game. And early season, Merrill Kelly was a stud with real strikeout upside. So I'm with you there. I'm a big fan of Kelly there at $8,800. We'll have to watch the weather. It looks like, sadly, again, up the East Coast, we got some rain showers on the symbols here. So we'll have to see which games end up getting truly impacted by that or not. But I do agree with you there. I think there's some good spots in that 8K range. Thoughts on Montgomery making his debut for Texas? It's against Miami. Miami obviously has some guys that can hit lefties in their lineup. They've been surprisingly one of the better hitting teams against Southpaws all season long. Is that a fade for you at 8,100?
I don't know. It's not. Miami definitely got better against lefties too, adding Berger and Bell. Right, those are 2 guys that have hit lefties pretty well. If I were to play anyone in this range, probably is Reed Detmers. Slightly above Montgomery. I think he has a little higher strikeout ceiling, and Seattle's offense has been pretty bad, but mild interest in both those guys.
Okay. I got to ask you about your guy, Logan Allen. Obviously not his best outing against the White Sox last time around. Goes up against them again. You mentioned no Jake Berger this time around for them. So there's one power bat against lefties out. Now we still have Robert, still have Eloy. Any interest here with our guy Allen?
Yeah, I mean, both had Thursday's game off. Neither were in the lineup, so have to assume they're back in the lineup on Friday. I think he's in play. Even through that start, he struggled. He still, you love to see the 6 innings. The start before he struggled, 7 innings. So he's starting to figure it out and starting to get deeper into games, and that was the issue send down. Like he couldn't get deep into games. So, I think that's fine. I don't like much else, to be honest. Maybe Dean Kramer just for strikeouts.
So I was going to say 2 guys, Kramer or Clevenger, potentially, right? I mean,
that's
Clevenger
true.
last start and returned against the same team, 5 shutout, only 3 strikeouts. We know they're not going to strike out a lot in Cleveland, but again, a team that kind of sold a piece, maybe. Clevenger there, and then Kramer against the Mets, again, a team that some of their young guys maybe come around for them, but a team largely better against lefties and righties. But I agree with you. This is going to be probably a top-heavy pitching lineup build for us here when it comes to it. All right, let's move on over to the hitting position here. Talk to me about some of your favorite spend-ups tonight, because as you said, it's 11 games, and about half the slate we hate. So obviously there's plenty of hitters to target.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, Houston is going to be an incredibly popular stack going up against Luis Severino. So right off the bat, Altuve 55, Bregman 53. I think both those guys are as elite as it gets in the infield. Doesn't matter the split right now. Severino's bad against literally everybody. So both those guys I'm really interested in. I like Nolan Arenado. He's hit righties really well. He gets the Kurtz Flexen matchup. I know he's been struggling a lot, but he's actually probably been their best hitter this year. I would say he's been better than Goldschmidt by a pretty wide margin, and he's been their best run producer as well. So I like Arenado. Uh, Going down a little bit, I like Josh Jung at 47. Even further down a little bit more, Ryan McMahon has been on a tear, and he gets the Wainwright matchup. I'm okay attacking Wainwright with anybody that has a pulse. I've been very consistent about that. He's been terrible, and I don't know what to do because I want to play Philly, John.
I was gonna say we have first base eligible Bryce Harper on the slate,
Which he should be because he can't throw and he's only playing first if he's not DHing. So like I agree with this move. I just don't know what to do with them because like we're paying a premium for Bryce and he's not hitting for power. And we are still paying way too much of a premium for Trey Turner and he can't hit and he's hitting 8th.
He hit 8th on one Thursday.
And like their best player is Alec Boehm, who hits lefties better, and he's hitting second, coming off 4 hits. And Bryson Stott's good, and like this.
They gave Salvi first base eligibility here.
Good. But I want to play Philadelphia because the home run upside, or that Jordan Lyles serves up, but I just don't know if we can get there.
Sure. Josh Naylor here day-to-day still for Cleveland, so even more so if that lineup is missing some big pieces to it, right? Naylor could make Cleveland a bit more appealing here. I'm with you there. We also do have a lefty on the mound against Baltimore here, so Mountcastle. Mount up here, $3,800.
Mount up, yeah. I like that. He's been absolute nails against lefties. Nothing else to say. I mean, he's been nails.
I mean, you can win Kikuchi basically, shut him down. He still had 2 hits in that game, so.
He had 4 for 4 on Thursday. That wasn't on the main slate, but holy cow, is he locked the heck in right now? Holy smokes! They must have heard. They must have heard because I've heard from a lot of like Orioles fans that there's no reason to get Mountcastle in unless he's facing a lefty, and I think they've realized he's like taking that to heart.
Oh, because what else have they got to do? Right. Like you let them figure out how to hit righties for the sake of your franchise.
Right.
So I'm with you there. Anybody else of note? I mean, we have Darvish facing the Dodgers. That doesn't really scare me off of the Dodgers. So. No. You mentioned Houston already. Is there any other top guys interesting for you, or is there maybe a core value play that you're keying in on in the infield?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna probably go back to the well on Milwaukee here and look at Bryce Terang, $3,000 at second base, homered on Thursday, and has now been like significantly better of late. Had his 3rd multi-hit game on Thursday in his last 5. He was hitting 300 going into Thursday's game over his last 10. And Quinn Priester just looks terrible as a starting pitcher. His first 3 starts, 5 1/3, 7 earned, 2 strikeouts, 5 1/3, 4 earned, 2 home runs, 4 strikeouts. And last start was a little better because of strikeouts 7. He had 6 walks and 5 earned runs. Like there has been almost double-digit base runners in both starts. He's allowed 4 earned. So give me Bryce Terang, who's really turning his season around at 3K. I
like that.
And then, that would probably be my core. Jake Berger, 39 against Jordan Montgomery is interesting as well.
Yeah, I'll go some Red Sox here against Alek Manoah as well.
That's a fair one.
Again, we'll have to see this game plays. Looks like there's going to be some rain potentially, at least based out the DraftKings symbol there. But where's Casas here? They finally put him over 3K. $3,700 now for Tristan Casas, but coming off Rookie of the Month honors. So, definitely better at home as well. So if you're not in on Mountcastle, you have Casas down here. We'll see what's going on with like Justin Turner, Rafi Devers, and that whole crew. Trevor Story is supposedly due up any day. So we could see that move happen as soon as tomorrow. Could be here for the weekend.
Won't be activated for Friday, per Chris
Oh,
Cotillo of the Springfield Republican.
Well, then there you go. They said he was due up soon. So they just got back from their West Coast trip. He's been playing in Worcester, so could see him.
Story asked to stay with AAA for a few extra games.
Well, there you go. He's been hammering the baseball down there, so I'm curious maybe he just likes going Yabo off
AAA pitching.
20-year-olds.
688 slug that's
he's got like 4 home runs, I think. So that's interesting to see. They traded for Luis Urias. Do we know if he reported to AAA?
It's unclear whether the Red Sox plan on keeping Urias in the minors or adding him to their MLB bench. So we'll find out. We'll find out.
We will find out. Berger's 39 against Montgomery if you're not going there as well. It's a guy that we were pretty core keyed in on for sure. So, all right, let's move on then to the outfield. Talk to me about your top outfielders.
Houston Astros. And we can end the podcast. Yordan and Tucker, who homered on Thursday, and McCormick are all firmly in play here. 2 of them are much more expensive than the third, but that doesn't necessarily matter. McCormick has been as good, honestly, from a fantasy perspective. But again, Severino can't get anyone out. He even was quoted as saying he feels like he's the worst pitcher in baseball, and that might be true. 9 earned runs his last start. He's given up. He's had more starts in his last 5 with 7 or more earned runs than he's had with less than 7 or more earned runs. And that's usually a telltale sign of you lost it.
How is he still in the rotation? That's another question.
I mean, have you seen what's happening with the Yankees right now? They just had to. They just had to shut down one of their pitchers for the year.
Is Spencer Howard going to be starting games for New York at some point? Is that what's happening now?
Hey, don't let us unlock that gem right there.
Yeah.
Don't let us unlock that gem.
I agree with you. We were in on them on Thursday's slate in their matchup there. So definitely keying in on him against Sabrina, but a lot of people obviously be in there. I think you can go back to Ohtani here. I know that he's $6,500, but again, Castillo was having a lot of problems with the home run ball. Maybe he figured it out, but again, this Angels team has a lot of guys with a lot of home run power. So I do like, if you're looking to spend all the way up on Ohtani, I think that's fair. Then you have guys like Lewis Robert down here at $5,900 going up against Logan Allen. Corbin Carroll led off today for Arizona. He's got Bailey Ober at $5,900. Could take a peek there as well. Still going in with Yelich. He had a nice little night tonight leading off for them. So I like a lot of this 5K and up tier, which is kind of unfortunate, I guess, because we're looking to spend up at pitching too. So I guess the infield is where we're going to be finding our value on this slate. With there's definitely a punt outfielder will be coming across here momentarily, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of really good mid-tier plays too. If we don't necessarily want to go all the way up, Santander 4,400 gets a lefty. I know it's going to be for a short time. With David Peterson basically becoming a short man for the last few months. Lars Nootbaar, 4,400. He's hitting 455 with a 1,500 OPS coming into this game. I think those numbers are pretty good. Nolan Jones, 4,200, gets the matchup right there. Tyler O'Neill and Jordan Walker are both, again, I don't know if you sense a trend here, but I am playing a lot of St. Louis in this spot. Tyler O'Neill's $3,500, and he's homered in 2 straight games and has been really good since returning. Hits in 6 straight, hits in 7 of his last 8 overall. So I'm willing to get Tyler O'Neill $3,500. And then again, you want to punt Jordan Walker, $2,800. He's going to be playing every day. I mean, not that he hasn't, but like with all the trades that they've made, like investing in Jordan Walker is the correct thing to do. Hits in 3 of his last 4, including a home run. And he's hit righties really well all year. So I love Jordan Walker, $2,800. I love Tyler O'Neill, $3,500.
Yeah, I mean, this is a night where I'm glad I play 3-4 lineups here because there's so much exposure on an 11-game slate that I'm going to be looking just to maybe sink my teeth into. I mean, Teoscar's $3,200 as well. Gets Detmers the lefty there. There's a lot of other guys in this even mid to upper 3K range that I think is super interesting here. So building some lineups will be interesting. Sal Frelick at 33 DraftKings points and counting so far on Thursday. And he's under 4K against another.
I think he was removed.
Did they finally pull them out? I mean, they're up 14-1. So
no, he. Did I see that he was removed? No, they kept. I guess he's still in. He made the last out. In the previous inning, they kept him in. So
I mean, probably his last AD. But again, you mentioned Chaz, Jones, Jimenez, all low 4Ks.
Right.
The Red Sox outfielders against Manoah could be all in play here as well. A lot of options to kind of go about and build some lineups. Let's see if we can get an example lineup for the people at home here, James. What do you think?
Yeah.
All right. Talk to me about pitching. What is the decision we're going? Are we taking the plunge with Aaron Nola, or do we find ourselves maybe spinning down a little bit, maybe going a Paxton Kelly or somewhere in the mid-tier if there's a guy that stood out to you like a Creamer or a Clevenger or something like that?
We can go Paxton and Clevenger. That's fine.
Okay.
I'm fine with that. It gives us more money, and
yeah, we weren't looking to play Cleveland anyways. It could be without Naylor. They don't have Bell anymore, so definitely it could be a weaker lineup here. All right, over at the catcher position then, a lot of obviously options up and down the board on such a large slate. Looking down where we generally start off in the value tier, what's the one guy that initially will stand out to you? Murphy against Detmers? Is it
probably Murphy? Probably Murphy.
Right. Our guy Rodriguez is $2,500 against.
Colin Ray's bad against lefties. Andy Rodriguez. I know he had a terrible day on Thursday, but I'd be willing to go back to the well.
Okay. First base. I like Mountcastle here, but.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay. You probably end up getting to maybe a one-off just play here. Second base for you. You like the Houston guys, so.
Yeah, as long as we can get, and I also like Bryson Stott at 42. I also like Jake Berger, who's 39. Bryce Terang is $3,000. I love Bryce Terang, and his bat heating up. I think.
Let's get our outfield then. We want what, Yordan and Tucker? Just plug them in both.
Yeah, probably. Okay. It's unfortunate because that means I think St. Louis has tremendous outfield value. But
we can pick one right now. Would you rather Walker, O'Neill, Nootbaar? Where do you want to go?
I mean, I want Nootbaar, but I think the value probably speaks to O'Neill and Walker the most.
Okay, got a favorite?
Walker or O'Neill's been better. Walker's cheaper, so.
Okay, let's go O'Neill for now, and we'll see what we can do here. Tyler O'Neill. $3,500. That gives us $4,200 for second, third, and short. Did you want Pena, Bregman, or Altuve?
Go Bregman, and then we could spend down at second to Terang, and then see what affords us at shortstop.
Terang. That gives us a $4,300 shortstop, which is $4,100 shortstop.
It's not the best.
Not a ton there. All right, let's go Pena then. Let's go Pena at short. Where is he? There he is, 45. $5,100 gives us Devers. One-off Devers play?
Yeah, I mean, you said you like Boston against Manoah, and I have no
problems?
Yeah, no problems with that.
Yeah, because Bregman was 53. All right. So that's an example lineup for everybody here. We got Paxton, Clevenger, Andy Rodriguez, Brian Mountcastle, one-off play, Bryce Terang, a one-off, and Devers, a one-off. But that's because we're spending up, man. We're spending up for Alvarez, Tucker, Pena, Tyler O'Neill, and then Paxton and Clevenger up there at the top. 11 games, big slate for everybody. We'll have the playbook out. We'll be in the Discord. Find us on Twitter. Of course, James and I will be back live 5 p.m. Eastern time to break down the slate for everybody. So if you have any questions, stay tuned, staying with us, and we will talk to you guys later.